You talking to the prophet. Hey, we talking condos and nice clothes and dropping Lambos. I remember them night codes, we couldn't stand those. We tried to drive on them house roads, but had to...
And we're live with Nick Black in 5, 4, 3, 2,
1. And what's the best thing that you ate, Brandon? What was the best thing you ate over the last? And I want to see in the chat. No. Let's do it better. Everybody in the chat, everybody. Best and worst thing you ate, and on the worst thing, who made it?
Are you?
Go ahead,
you're
Brandon.
Assuming, dude, is Christmas like a big eating thing? It's not. It's not a big eating thing for us. We just run around and we hang out with family, and I don't know that we
run around. Isn't it negative 400 degrees where you live?
Yeah, give or take. But like we just run around, slide around on the roads.
Run around where?
To grandma's house, like to grandma's, to our cousins, to like everywhere's house. We eat some soup. Oh, my mom makes a really good sourdough bread, which I was a very big fan of. I love the
Okay, what was the worst thing you ate?
Toaster. Worst thing? Oh my gosh, my wife made. Let's see.
You know what Sam Bankman?
Yeah, everything was good.
You know what the worst thing he ate was?
$300 steak.
that 7,000 page guilty plea. And incriminating indictment by freaking Caroline.
Caroline?
Snitches get riches. She grassed him up so quick. You know what's funny? Brandon, do you remember when we were talking about this thing going down in November and we were like, they flashed a picture of Caroline and we're like, oh, she's going to tell it. She's the first rat.
Jeez.
She was the first rat.
What would you do in her situation though? I mean, at the same time, I mean, being as weak-minded as she is, I guess, you would do the same thing.
It's not even weak-minded. I mean, she is weak-minded. They all are, but that's not. She did what you're there. That's what you're supposed to do. It's the prisoner's dilemma.
The prisoner's dilemma, right?
Everyone snitches because everyone's gonna snitch.
Yep.
Guaranteed. So you made the worst turkey breast. It was so rubbery, it could have bounced off the wall. Hey, I made the mistake of ordering. I ordered lobster from Little Sizzler. Does anybody know? Does anybody have a Sizzler near them? I thought lobster and steak, that should be good. It's expensive. It's on Uber Eats. What's not to like? It had the consistency of like human brain. It was custard. It was a lobster shaped like a gooey kind of a damn pudding thing. It was awful. Anyway, yeah, Sam's going to jail forever for like so long. So now he has very limited people he can snitch. So basically, Caroline, Gary, everybody. Well, there's only like 10 or 11 people at FT scams, but everybody snitched. They snitched him. Thing is, you got to snitch upward. He doesn't have anybody to snitch except he can grease up a little bit, maybe some of the inner workings of Binance, although he didn't know much about Binance. Binance invested in him. He didn't invest in Binance. He didn't know. So there may be a deal or two that CZ, who's the CEO of Binance, pulled some shenaniganery, but probably not much there, even though the Justice Department's been looking at Binance for a while. But Tether. So I don't know if you knew about this, Brandon. So like we had suspected for years, look, and not just we, not like me and Brandon, we're in on it. Everybody, and I mean everybody, who has been in the space since, say, 2015, 2016, knows that Tether doesn't have as much money in a bank account as there are Tethers floating around the hyperverse. And now we know with certainty, and then this will all be exposed as part of the government investigation, that there was 36 billion Tether kind of lent to FTX and Alameda, because it's basically the same thing, and there was no actual currency units behind it. Now, does anybody want to go and look at what the total market cap of Tether is? Brandon, do you want to take a guess?
Yeah, it's 300 million.
No, Tether, the total market cap for Tether, bro.
I don't know.
Tether.
I don't look at. Let me see. Where are you at?
Okay, go to USD. There
it is,
man.
the top one.
Look,
right
Tether.
there. Yeah.
Okay, 66
No.
billion, of which 36 was absolutely funny money that was created out of thin air and sent pre-collateral, an uncollateralized loan sent to FTX, Alameda. Everything FTX doing was fake. They were backing Solana, which is fake. All of their daily, total value locked, fake. All of Alameda's deals, fake. All of FTX's deals, fake. Sam Bankman's background, fake. Caroline's background, who knows? Gary Wang's, fake. Their story about arbitraging the kimchi premium, fake. All of these, everything fake. Fake. And all this currency units that they had was fake Tether. Now it was real Tether. It was Tether. It was uncollateralized Tether. That means real Tether. They created Tether tokens and gave them to them. Then there was another 4 billion. So 40 billion. So one might say, oh, that's almost 66% of the entire supply of the fakest of the stable coins was lent into existence. But again, it only sounds bad when I say it like this, because this is the way that every single bank in the United States does business, and it is how the Treasury does business. So there's nothing new about this. They just applied their MIT schooling and education in the legacy financial system towards the crypto space because they thought, well, no one's really looking over here. We can get away with it. So my guess is Sam grasses up these guys, although everybody at Tether, at Ifinex, their company, they've already been indicted. They've already been, they're all guilty. They're all doing various sentences, obviously, house arrest, stuff like that. But the point is, it's the same as the legacy system. All of the scammy behavior that you see, all of this stuff that everybody's like, Sam Bankman is a fraud. It's a scam. Da-da-da. Yeah, true. Except that's the way every bank in the U.S. works. All of them. It's the way Fidelity works. And it is the way all these trading houses work. Certainly the way Goldman Sachs. None of them have money. That's why they use the same collateral and repo 8, 6, 14, 12 times. It's the same collateral being used by 12 different people to borrow other collateral and make other risky trades and buy other risky securities at leverage. It's the same crap. It's just over here, it's easy to point the finger at it. Now, there's other criminal things they did. Lots. But as far as the way, the scamminess of like fake money, real money, and all that, it's the same thing the banking system does all day long. And you guys are okay with that. You feel safe. I keep my money at JP Morgan. Really? 3% capitalized. Hey, Brandon, do you know what our favorite, our magic number is for today? Anyone? Anyone in the chat? I know some of the heavyweights know.
408.
We are 408. 308. Sure, come on, you guys.
No, come on. I wish. No.
7? Why does he have 407? Well, weren't we at 411 Friday?
I thought so. Give or take, right? So that'd be 40, 410, 409. Oh, crap. 408, 40, maybe it is 407.
407. Okay, we're at 407. 412. 412. We can't go the other direction. TK night moves. The time is working against us. Although I guess if we could go in that direction and go back to 2021 and then all sell out. Okay. Let's take a brief look at markets.
Yeah.
Not much going on. Still quiet. Surprised? No, holiday trading's quiet. The only thing I did notice over the weekend, seems like the AI tokens got a little bit of love. The reason I'm watching Ocean Protocol is it is kind of AI and kind of big data. It's more data aggregation, but with a lean towards AI. So it's in the bucket, but it would be it's kind of fringe AI, but also it's in the bucket with like Filecoin, with Arweave, Arweave. I think that's the way to look at it. Distributed data, but we'll see. So anyway, but yeah, the AI coins did pretty okay. I mean, AGIX was flat, but it was up. It's still up 16% over the last month. Our spammy dumpster fire coin Matrix AI is up 200% over the last. And I would advise it was like 2.5 cents this weekend. I would say for those of you that were lotterying your way in, take a little off the table with Matrix. I think it makes more sense to keep a little profit, especially when you get these unrealistic bounces, like 42% last week on a nascent platform that nobody uses. That's dumpster trash. So take some off the table. Singularity DAO, 18 cents, pretty quiet. Just quiet across the board, but way down on the year, obviously. Fetch, back over 10 cents. Interesting. A lot to come from the whole AI space. You're very early if you're looking at AI. Very, very, very early. Which early equals, I think, big multiples. So I am excited. I'm going to be making some AI purchases in the next 2 weeks. But I am going to wait for January 10th. I'm going to wait because I want to see what the Bitcoin distribution via MTGOX looks like. Although I think it's going to be less of a big deal than it was when Bitcoin was 30, 32,000, 35,000, 28,000. It was much more of a big deal. There's a lot of people now. I think the aggregate retail holder is underwater. Isn't that right, Brandon? Did you read about that, or is that just me?
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So you think there's going to be less sell pressure than there would have been?
Yeah,
for sure.
because we were talking about this earlier. When people buy, especially when you buy your first investment period, you have an emotional connection to that. You've never invested, and then you invest. You've taken your time and your brain power and your currency units, and you put them all together, and you roll the dice. And if it's a dud, if your first investment was like Solana or Celsius token or FTT or any of these garbage dumpster fire projects, especially if you're young and you invested in the crypto space and you invested in garbage because you got your marching orders off Twitter or Reddit, then you got burned. And the thing is, you're not selling because it would be an admission of how stupid you are. And people don't want to admit that. They would rather go there's a lot of people that I've talked to that say, I'd rather lose it all. Like, what do you mean I'd rather lose it all? Right, but you don't have to lose it all. You can sell the crap and buy good stuff and not lose it all. Nope. Rather lose it all. Okay. Well, you will. Investing is rookies and amateurs slowly gambling their money away into the hands of veterans. This is, I think, the age old. All right. Brandon, why don't we hit some Q&As and tackle those questions so that people don't think all we did is talk about food plates, holiday food plates.
The thing is, too, pivoting in the crypto space is one of the best moves you can make, only because there's so much opportunity around the crypto space. So if you're in something that's obviously a failing project or something that's not going to be profitable in the future, like the NFT space, you got to pivot out of that thing as fast as you can because something else is going to be taking off. But first question we got from Film Trader: what makes these so valuable? ADA, Cosmo, Polygon, Algo.
Film Trader, I sense a little sarcasm in there. I think we actually tackled this Thursday. But wait, what makes the protocols valuable? ADA is the native token for Cardano. Cosmos, the ecosystem, uses the Atom token, ATOM. Polygon is Polygon, unless that's a new one. Polygon, that's Matic. And Algorand, Algo is their token. These, other than Polygon, these are layer ones. These are, think of them as the base layer for which the future gets built on top of. You could think of it as iOS, and then people come and build apps and deploy them on top of iOS. These are the IOSs. These are the protocol layers, and we call them layer ones, with the exception of Polygon, which is a layer two. A layer two scales the use and utility and hopefully aids in the adoption of a layer one. Polygon is getting tons, like for instance, right now, Brandon, we were talking about there's some projects that are exiting Solana, some NFT, because NFTs was about the only thing Solana was kind of good at, and that's because you're not trading NFTs all the time like you might be trading currency units. And there's two big Solana projects, surprise, surprise, that are leaving Solana, and they're going they're going to launch their NFT projects through Polygon, through Matic. The Matic was the token, but on top of Polygon. So Polygon, like Optimism and like Harmony One, are layer twos. They scale Ethereum or whatever. There's layer twos for other assets too. There's layer twos for Cosmos. There's layer twos for Cardano. And they scale, again, they scale the use and utility of the underlying blockchain. But what they do that's interesting is they do a bunch of transactions off of the ledger, and they reconcile those transactions into small, simple transactions that they post to the ledger. And that keeps them very clean, the ledgers themselves, very clean, very elegant, and not just gummed up with data that would make them heavier and slow them down and perhaps slow down their throughput. So yeah. Now, if that was a sarcastic question, I would say that maybe you should invest in 4-week or 8-week treasuries that you can roll over and you fire and forget.
See that? That was a sarcastic answer. You see that? See
what? No, we didn't.
What? Oh, Nick, I see what you did there. Dividing payments. So this Crago is building portfolio on Coinbase, buying in with PayPal. Is it better to make one purchase of a total amount of portfolio of Bitcoin and exchange it for other tokens?
Drive LA ad.
Or make
gratuitous ad.
What?
Gratuitous ad.
Dude, we're doing the question time. Okay. Or do you want to split up those purchases with PayPal? What's going to cost less, I guess?
Brandon, didn't we talk about PayPal last week and just stay away from it?
I think so. I don't know. There's two questions here, though, I think. Would you do multiple, I guess, even if you were buying like from a bank account, would you buy
a reputable exchange
transactions?
Yeah.
Would you do multiple transactions or would you do one big one?
Here's to reduce. We need to dollar cost average always. Dollar cost average. Break your purchases into small little purchases. Spread them out over time so that you get the aggregate best price. You never know what the bottom or the top is or the this or the that. If you buy consistently over time, smaller amounts, takes the emotion out of your investment. It also gets you the average best price. So you're typically dollar cost averaging in the beginning of entering into a position. You also dollar cost average your way out of a position. You don't just sell out on a Thursday because it's up. You take little bits and you sell bits. You sell bits. All right. Hope that makes sense. So dollar cost average. So you're going to spend $10. Don't spend $10 on Tuesday. Break it up and spend $2 every 3 days, and you get the best aggregate price. Because what if Wednesday the price goes way down? Well, then your $2 buys you a lot more than it did. Woo woo! All right.
Makes sense.
What else we got, Brando?
You store ATX and Algo on a hard wallet, or do you store it on a server like Coinbase? SoCal.
See, I do think these are old. I do think these are old questions.
Yeah, I think we hit a couple of these maybe before, so interesting. Yeah.
Okay, but let me just answer some AGIX based questions because there's several. If you are holding AGIX, when they announce that they're going to launch a new company and the new tokens, they will give you an open registration period where you will go and just register your wallet. You basically hook whatever your wallet is, for instance, MetaMask. You'll just do a little transaction, not a currency transaction, where you'll just handshake the website and they'll say, is this your wallet? Yes, this is my wallet. Okay. And what they've done is throughout the period where they're going to give away tokens, they'll do these snapshots of the entire network. In this case, the Ethereum network. And they'll see who owns what in what wallets. And Jag, we don't know when the registrations are because they're in the future. There's none scheduled right now. We just know that they're coming. So when they announce those, then you would go and register. You would just say, yes, this is my wallet. They'll do all of these cool little snapshots throughout the year. And then you will go, and after you've registered, they'll give you an open period where you go in and you just collect your tokens. You do a tiny little transaction. It will just give you these new tokens, which is super cool. Ronald asked, can I also do that registration from my Ledger Live app? I don't know because I don't use Ledger Live. So that would be a Ledger Live specific question. And I don't work for them, so don't get me lying. But I'm sure if you can stake through via Ledger, then you can also sign, because your AGIX will just live at those Ledger addresses. So my guess is that's part of any snapshot. But again, I say my guess, but I don't know because I don't use Ledger Live. There you go. All right. I hope that works. And by the way, I hold Algorand. I hold Algorand on Coinbase because they pay like 5.75%. And I trust Coinbase. There you go.
I like Coinbase too. Here's a more relevant question, possibly. Should we wait to buy more AI positions, or do you want to buy them?
Well, that's answered by the other question, the very first question about dollar cost averaging.
There you go. There you go.
You dollar cost average all the time. It takes the emotion out. It gets you the best average price. I've been dollar cost averaging AGIX specifically, for a year and a half. And I just buy on a regular basis because I don't think we've rocked. Man, I was buying 30, 40 cent AGIX. I was also buying 3 cent. And guess what? Because I was dollar cost averaging using the same amount of money for each, roughly the same. Then I got a lot more, obviously, when the price was 3.9 cents than I did when the price was 39 cents, like 10x. However, if I had put all my money in when the price was high, which you can't know, then you win because you get the average price. So now my average price in AGIX is probably under 10 cents. Loving it. I'm loving it. All right. With you on Algo. Oh yeah. I like Algorand a lot. I like the team. I like that they're working with, they are an enterprise company. Algorand is not somebody that's Silvio's not going to get on a call or get on YouTube and talk to people. I don't even know if he's got the, mental dexterity for that kind of thing. He's the ultimate math guy. But they have good DNA. Big companies seem to like them. Banks like them. Governments apparently like them. The government of Italy is going to be settling various forms of debt and debt instruments, and who knows what that might turn into? Maybe even their stable coin, their government stable coin. So you start hearing things like this. You start realizing, okay, 2 years ago we heard nothing. Now we've got governments, like whole governments and countries, starting to go digital, and they're starting to choose the rails. And my guess is, if it's successful in Italy and a few other European areas, then Algorand may own the EU as far as the framework for which to launch your government-backed asset, to launch potentially to settle repo. Their version of what repo will be, government debt markets, and then the lending and swap markets around those, and maybe even Forex. You get Europe, that's a big deal. You get France and Germany. You get the frugal 4, frugal 5. That's it, man. Off to the enterprise races. But we're at peak sadness and capitulation right now. Everybody hate crypto, which is why I be invest in crypto, because when people say it's, when the aggregate kind of emotion around a space is really, really, really negative, but you realize that the world is going in this direction, then it would be foolish not to at least look and see if it makes sense in your portfolio. We don't want to be foolish. Brandon, do we want to be foolish?
No, I think we'd actually use, Warren Buffett in this situation. That's when he buys the most of anything, even in the stock market. When there's blood in the streets and when people are running scared, that's when he invests the most. And I think we can say the same about the crypto market right now. Like literally, like this is happening. So
that's why I got a G-Wagon yesterday. Yeah.
A G-Wagon. How subtle. Look at this thing.
What?
That boy right here. What? That just
That's
happened. Right. No.
G63. That's right. And listen, you can rent one too. Brandon, I'm going to make you a special deal.
Thank you, buddy. What do we
600
got?
a day.
Tell me. That's it. Okay. As we've discussed prior to the show, that's more than I make in a month. So could we negotiate a little?
For you, 600 a day.
Are you kidding me? That's just like the good guy discount. Thank you. Thank you so much. Should we read this?
Yeah, I got it yesterday. They took it. It was rented before we finished the paperwork. All right, go ahead. Sorry for that interlude.
That's okay. If you want to read the statement really quickly before we bounce, because we only have a few minutes left and we're out of questions. So
reserves may be inferior assets to treasury bills. For what reasons are reserves inferior to treasury bills? Basically, reserves can be held only by a restricted set of financial institutions, while T-bills are more widely held and useful as collateral in financial transactions. Example, repurchase agreements, that's repo, in ways that reserves are not. You want to guess who said that? Because, by the way, for everybody that thinks that the Fed prints money, this is telling you very clearly, the Fed does not print money. They trade bank reserves, which are held only by a restricted set of financial institutions. They're not real money. Brandon, where did we get this? Where did this come from? No, not Greenspan.
We got some guesses in the chat so far. I was going to wait for a few more.
Okay. Much more recent than Greenspan.
Powell?
No, not Powell. Powell's still telling people he's a money dealer.
Okay.
This, Brandon, you want to let them know?
Yeah, so this is the Federal Reserve.
Right? This is Federal Reserve. St. Louis.
Yeah. Yep.
2017. Pretty recent.
Wow. Pretty recent.
I mean, there's a lot of old school. Brandon and I were talking about this. There's a lot of old school thinking. So I think as we move into the new year, we should all endeavor to perhaps let go of old beliefs where we know maybe we should reconsider things. Maybe 2023 is a time to reconsider the way things work, to look at your investments and make sure that you're prepared for a future run by robots. That is what's coming. And whether if you shake your head and hold your gold coins and all that, that's fine, but you will get melted. Like all the Nazis when they opened up in Indiana Jones, when they opened up the Ark, their faces melted off like cheese. I don't know how to, you got to like shake people. Gold is done. That is over with. A lot of the things that we all may believe, we need to reconsider these things. Because the world is different than it was even a few years ago, even 5 years ago, 6 years ago, in 2017. Seems like yesterday. If you do not reconsider your strategies in investing, you're going to get melted. Like the Germans in front of the Ark. Don't get melted, bros. Just look around, question your beliefs a little bit. You have some time, some home time, some quiet time. And get ready so that in 2023, you can take the best advantage of your currency units and make more currency units. I give you that. All right. Well, AI is more dangerous. Ronald, we'll talk about that. But if Elon is so scared of AI, how come he's building a giant force of robots? The good Skynet or just Skynet? We'll see. All right. AI is coming whether we like it or not. And on that note, we must bid you a fond adieu. We'll see you tomorrow for Digital Heavyweights, which is good. That's going to be fun. We're going to talk about some cool stuff. Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Don't do anything my poor and solvent drunk, strung out on eggnog grandmother, nor Brandon, nor Eric, who's not Brandon, who's not Meg, who's not Elizabeth, who's not Ryan, who's not Nancy Pelosi. Would do. And we'll see you tomorrow. Nancy Pelosi.
Hey, this is the prophet with